Hi, my name is Zane Poe, and to begin this Vinyasa yoga session, we will start out on both hands and knees, and then slowly move into child's pose, and hold this position for just a little bit, kind of feeling a stretch in the hips and back area. Then we will move on to our hands and knees again, but begin to do a cat and cow poses, making sure to get a good stretch in the back for this movement. Moving on into downward dog, we will start the heel pedal, kind of feeling a stretch mainly in the kind of ankles and calf areas, kind of feeling that. From this position, we will reach our right leg forward into a kneeling lunge, whichever is easiest for you. Now we will reach both our hands behind our head and begin to bend your back towards the rear. We should feel stretching in the lower back as well as our shoulder blade areas, kind of loosening the muscle and kind of having more mobility. Once this is performed, we can go into a deep hip stretch while still in the knee lunge position and begin to hold our chest near our right calf, kind of like this. After this position, we will go into a plank, and then slowly lowering ourselves down, letting our hips touch the ground last. From here, we will reach into a cobra pose and hold it for a little bit, and then back onto our hands and knees where we will turn onto our back. With our hands perpendicular with our straight flat feet, we will try the iron cross pose, with our right leg in the air being pulled sideways across our left leg to get a good stretch in the hip. And we'll do this for a few times. Then we will sit up into a butterfly pose and safely get into a front forward bend. Once there, we will slowly roll out our spine up into a slow pose until we get into mountain. And then now we will begin our tree pose with our hands together in front and our right foot onto our left leg. Now we will get back onto our hands and knees and start for the left leg side. Now we will move into child's pose again and hold this position for just a little bit. Then we will move onto our hands and knees once again, but we will begin to do cat and cows again. Making sure to feel a hopefully more loose stretch in the back, just getting a little and you can go slow in these poses, or if you want to go fast, or not too fast. Moving on into our downward dog position, where we will start our heel pedals once again, making sure to get maybe a slower, deeper stretch in the ankles and calves than last time. From this position, we will reach our left leg forward into a kneeling lunge, whichever way is easiest for you once again. We will reach both our hands back behind our head and try to reach towards the rear with our back, trying to feel a stretch in our shoulder blades as well as our lower back, kind of forming a circular motion around our hip. And just doing this a few times to kind of get a good feeling and mobility. Once performed, we can go into a deep hip stretch while still in the kneeling lunge position and begin to hold our chest near our left calf this time. After this position, we will go into a plank and holding ourselves here for just a little bit, and we will slowly lower ourselves down to the ground with our hips touching last. From here, we will move into a cobra pose, and then back on our hands and knees, where we will eventually turn to our back. With our hands perpendicular out next to our straight flat feet, we will try the iron cross pose with our left leg in the air being pulled sideways across our right leg, and trying to feel a kind of a stretch in our left outer hip area. And we can do this a few times or go as slowly as you want. You can even use your arm to kind of help stretch it just a little bit more. We will sit up into a butterfly position, and once you feel ready, we can get into a forward front bend. And then now we will slowly roll up our spine into a mountain pose. Once we get there, we can now put our left foot onto our right leg. And now we have finished our first round of the session. Now we will begin again. We can move into child's pose and kind of feel like a deeper stretch here. We can even hold it a little long if we wanted to. Back on our hands and knees once again. We can perform our cat-cows, maybe kind of holding it here a little longer to kind of deepen the stretch, kind of for more flexibility in the rear, the lower back area. From here, we're going to move on to downward dog once again. And now we can do a kind of, feel like a deeper and slower heel stretch. Just keep pedaling the heels, kind of work out those ankles and calves. Now we're going to reach our right leg forward and kind of make sure you get there as safe as possible. And now we're going to reach both our hands behind our head. Make sure you reach towards your rear of the back, or your of the foot, and kind of feel in your shoulder blades and back area, and just twist your body in a circular direction, kind of feeling your back rotate around your hips, and just kind of feeling that stretch along your sides as well. Now we can go into a deep hip stretch, kind of leaning your chest towards your right calf. And just holding here for a little bit, maybe kind of feeling that hip stretch a little more than usual. After this, we will go into a plank, and holding it here for however long as you feel comfortable, and slowly lowering ourselves into a cobra pose while keeping our hips from touching first. And now we go back to our hands and knees and get ready to go into our backs. And make sure our hands are perpendicular with our body, and kind of keeping your feet flat and straight. We will try the iron cross pose with our right leg in the air, reaching across our left leg while making sure our shoulders are not coming off the ground. And we can do this a few times and even hold it a little longer than usual. Just take your time with this one. Now we would go into a butterfly pose and just kind of sit here for a little bit, kind of get comfortable. And now move into a front forward bend. And kind of sit here a little bit, stretch out a little more, and kind of slowly roll up your spine into a mountain pose. And now have your right foot placed against your left leg with your hands placed together, and trying to keep your balance. From here, we will start the left side of the body, beginning in hands and knees on the ground. We will move into child's pose once again. Now you can sit here a little longer if you wanted to, or just want to feel a deeper stretch. Now we will move into both of our hands and knees once again and perform cat-cows, making sure our head is held high and on the cow part. Make sure just a deep stretch in the rear of the back. Make sure whatever's comfy for you. Now we will go into downward dog. Make sure our weight's evenly distributed from our legs and shoulders, and begin our heel pedals. You can do it slowly as you want, or even a little quicker. But from here, we will reach our left leg forward. Make sure we're in a comfortable position in a kneeing lunge area. And now we will slowly raise up and place our arms behind our head. Feeling a stretch in the lower back, kind of just reach your back backwards. Kind of feeling it in the shoulder blades a little bit too, and circling your body around like a circular motion around your hips. Kind of do this a couple of times to get kind of more loose than the first session. Now we will begin to do our deep hip stretch with our left leg this time, and trying to get our forearms on the ground and our chest pointing towards our left calf. And we can hold it here for a little longer since we've gotten a little looser. Once done, we will get into a plank position. Now we can slowly lower with our hips touching last and perform a cobra pose movement. Hold it here as long as you'd like. And now we can move into our hands and knees once again and get ready to go onto our back. With our hands perpendicular out with our straight flat legs, we can reach our left leg upwards and reach it across our right leg, kind of feeling a stretch in the hip area. We can do this a few times, hold as long as you'd like, just kind of perform more mobility in the hips, the outer hips area. Take your time for this one. Make sure our shoulders don't leave the ground. Now we will sit up into butterfly and safely get into a forward bent position. Now we will slowly roll our spine upwards into our mountain pose. Make sure you feel every vertebrae on the way up. And now we will place our left foot onto our right leg, trying to keep our hands together in front of us and keeping our balance. That was the end of session 2, and we will be doing another session for the last and final bit. We will start again on our hands and knees, moving into a child's pose. Make sure you can even do a little deeper stretch. Make sure everything's feel comfortable. Nothing's hurting. And we can go into our hands and knees once again. Now we can perform our cat-cows, taking as much time as we need, feeling a deeper stretch if you'd like. Moving slowly or as fast as you want through this range of motion. Take your time if you want to. Now we move into downward dog with our heel pedals. Make sure to feel that stretch in the heels and calf areas, and reaching our right leg forward into a safe position. And now we will begin with our hands behind our head, trying to feel a stretch in our shoulders and our rear back area. Kind of making a circular motion around our hips. Make sure everything feels comfortable and nothing's hurting. Do this a few times, and we can begin our deep hip stretch, kind of feeling our chest against our right leg, and trying to get our forearms on the ground. From here, we will move into a plank position. We can hold it here as long as you'd like, and we can slowly lower down with our hips touching last. And then we can move into a cobra pose. And now we can get back onto our hands and knees and moving on to the back position. Keeping our hands outside perpendicular with our legs and straight feet, we can lift our right leg up and bring it across our left leg, making sure our shoulders don't come up. And we can do this a few times as slowly as possible or at your own pace. After this, we can move into the butterfly, and we can safely get up and move into a front forward bend, feeling that stretch in the lower back as we slowly raise up. Feel it in all the way to the top of your neck. Into a mountain pose. And now we will begin our tree pose with our hands together and our right foot against our left calf or thigh area, whichever one you prefer. Make sure our balance is well centered. And now we can move back onto our hands and knees into a child's pose. Holding here as long as you'd like, and then moving back onto our hands and knees. And now we can form our cat-cow movements. Trying to feel as less pain as possible, and then trying to keep it safe. From here, we can move into our downward dog movement, in which we will have start our heel pedaling movement. Trying to feel a kind of a deeper stretch in our ankles, kind of get the more mobility out of them. From here, we will reach our left leg forward, and however you get there is fine. It's kind of the safest way. Now we reach both our hands behind our neck and kind of bending towards our rear, trying to feel a stretch in our shoulder blades and our lower back area. And we can make circular movements around our hips, trying to get that full range of motion and stretch. Now we can form our deep hip stretch with our chest facing towards our left calf. We're trying to get our forearm on the ground and just holding it there for however long is comfortable. And from here, we can move into a plank, holding here as long as we'd like, and having our lowering slowly to the ground, having our hips touch last, and move into a cobra pose and hold here for just a few seconds. Now from here, we can move into on our knees and our palms. And once we're ready, we can move into our back pose, which involves the iron cross and making sure our arms perpendicular with our straight legs. And we can lift our left leg up and bringing it across our right leg, feeling a stretch in our hip, making sure our shoulders don't come off the ground. And we can do this a few times, whichever is more comfortable for you. All right. Once that is over, we can move into our butterfly position to get ready to go into a front forward bend. Once in a front forward bend, we can feel a little flexibility in our lower back area and slowly roll up our spine so we can feel it in our entire vertebrae. And end in a mountain pose. And now we will have our left foot against our right calf for the end of session 3. Thank you.